name alkanes, the first step is what? Don't look at the slide, just basically tell me. What do you do first?
The prefix.
Not the prefix. What do we do first? Just stay away from the prefix and suffix for now. What do you do first?
Find the longest chain.
Find the longest chain. Now, the longest chain isn't necessarily the straight one. So think about it. You're going straight, and then you get into the fork in a road. Okay? At that fork in the road, you can take the scenic route, which is longer, or the shortcut. We want to take the scenic route. Okay? So if you get to the point and there's only one step, that's the shortcut. And the other one has 3 steps, that's the scenic route. That means take the scenic route. Does that make sense? So I'm going to give you an example of that. That's the best way I can help you think about the longest route. So don't always think about a straight line. Okay?
All of these, it's a straight line because they're the longest.
You're going to see that some of them are going to be a bit trickier than others. Because you're not always going to have a methyl as a side chain. Sometimes it's ethyl, sometimes it's propyl. Does that make sense? Alright, so I found the longest chain. Then what do? I'll look at the side chain. So the easiest way you can see what the side chain is box the longest chain. And anything you see coming off that's not a hydrogen, that means it's a side chain. Or a branch. Okay, it means the same thing. Okay? So the longest chain is what part of the name? The suffix, the ending. Okay? The prefix is all to do with the side chain that you have. So the first thing is to decide how do I number the longest chain. How do I number the longest chain?
Start with the carbon that's closest to the side.
Excellent. So even if I have 2 or 3, the closest one to the first side chain is where you start numbering. Does that make sense? So that number would be the first thing that you would write. Dash, and then the name of the actual group. Okay, whatever it is. So that's my prefix. So the prefix is all to do with the location and name of the side chain.
So you look at the closest carbon, and if it was like here, it would be 2 because it's the second one.
Exactly. Okay? So let's practice the first one together. So this is basically the steps. And here is the first example. Okay? So look at this. So the first thing that you would do is go straight. The fork in the road is here. This CH. So I've got 2 options. Keep going straight, which means I go 1 step more, or I go down, which means I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Which is my scenic route? Exactly. Okay? So this point here is where you're going to decide, do I go straight or do I go down?
So I can do like this?
Yes, of course. Because if I go like this, did I take my pen off the paper?
No.
No. So what's my side chain in this case? The CH3. Excellent. So this is my side chain. You can clearly see it pointing out. Okay? All right. Now I need to number it. How do I number it?
Second.
Yeah, so I number from this side. 1. So let me just draw it better. So I chose this route. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this. Because it's the quickest to my side chain. Because if I number from here, 1, 2, 3, this is at position 3. Too long. Does that make sense? Now, the way that I would write it is I would take the location and put it first. So it's 2 what?
2 methyl.
Methyl.
And that's butane.
Why is it?
And then butane, because 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my longest chain. That's going to be my suffix. Okay, so
stands for what?
methyl is CH3.
So if it has CH3, it has to be methyl?
Yes, because like it started off with methane. Remember, this is my methane. It was CH4, correct? When I drop a hydrogen to make it CH3, I change the ane ending and it becomes methyl.
Okay.
And the reason why I drop a hydrogen is because I want to connect it to a long chain, okay? I cannot have 5 bonds. If I kept the hydrogens there as 4 and I connected it to that, then that's going to make 5 bonds to the carbon. I can't have that. So I drop the hydrogen and I connect it.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
Okay, let's do this one together. You're going to tell me what to do.
No, miss, can you do the one under it? Because
Let's do both of them, and then we do the rest.
then
It's up to you. We can continue.
Yeah.
Let's do the second one and then we'll do the third one as well. It's up to you. All right, second one, you tell me what to do.
You're gonna count to see which is the biggest chain.
Okay,
And
so
then you're gonna find out that they're basically equal.
exactly. So in this case, I start 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my fork in the road. Okay, so I've got the option to keep going this way or to go down. I count both. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We go straight. Okay? So now I've gone straight. So what's coming off the branch? Okay, you circle all of it so that you don't get confused that there's a methyl and a CH. It's an ethyl group. This is called an ethyl group. An ethyl comes from ethane. I have 2 carbons. 1, 2. So this molecule used to be an ethane, okay? And an ethane is C2H6. All right? When I drop one of the hydrogens, it becomes ethyl. And this is C2H5. Count them. C2 and 2 plus 3 is?
Can you open the
5.
So when it goes from 6 hydrogens to 5,
I drop the A and I change it to L. But the prefix part stays the same. Why? Because I still have 2 carbons. But I change the number of hydrogens. Does that make sense?
yes, so
Are you gonna ask us to change from ethane to ethylene and stuff like that?
I don't know. But it's easy. All you need to do is remember what an ethane is. It's C2H6. All right? Take 1 hydrogen off, it becomes C2H5.
So it's 4 ethyl.
Yes, because when I number 1, 2, 3, 4, and if I go from this side, it's going to be the same. So it doesn't matter which direction. So excellent. So it's 4
What is 9
Ethyl.
ethyl.
Heptane.
Yeah, because there was 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is 4 ethyl heptane. Well done. Sorry, what was your question?
Oh no, I got it.
Is it making more sense now? Okay. Can someone help me out with this one?
it's gonna be the ethyl. It's gonna connect. It's gonna be 7.
Okay, so let's count. Count across first.
2.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? And then I want to count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically, I can go across or I can go up. It doesn't matter because these are the same. So these are both my longest chain. So I want to go across. Okay? So how many side chains do I have now? 2.
Is it
2 branches. 1, 2. What's the name of this one? Methyl. And what's the name of this one? Ethyl. Okay?
Can I ask a question? Is it
Of course.
going to be 4 methyl, 5 ethyl heptane?
Okay. Now here's where we need to decide which one do we basically label first. The numbers are going to be the same. So methyl is always going to be at the 4th position. Okay? And this one is going to count from this side. Which one do you get closer to? Okay, do I count from this side or that side first?
That side.
From that side, because this is the first group that I see. Okay? So I count from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So at position 3, what did I have? 3 ethyl. And then
4 methyl.
4 methyl. Okay? And then I have heptane. Does that make sense? Now, be careful. Right now, they are in order. Why? Because when I want to put these prefixes, they have to be in alphabetical order. Okay? So sometimes, even though this is a smaller number, you might have to switch them because an E comes before an M.
And why did you start counting from the right?
I started counting from the right because this is the first side chain that I see. Okay? If I count from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, the first one that I see is at position 4. But if I count from here, it's 1, 2, 3. The first side chain that I see is 3. You always need to be quickest to the first side chain that you see. Or the first
wait,
branch.
this is the comma comes in because we did like commas.
Comma is when I have at the same position.
2 side
Two.
chains.
Yeah.
Miss, for propane, is it
Proper. Okay, all you need to do is drop the ain and add il instead. Yes.
Why did you write 6 and 7 and 5? Like, why is that not like 1 and 2? You know?
Okay, let's do this again. So I need to count it, right? So we know that this is my longest chain. I boxed it. The next part is to decide from which end do I count, from this side or from this side.
That side, because that's the first.
Exactly. So this is my first side chain or branch, and this is my first branch. If I count from this side, then this will be position 4. But if I count from this side, the first side chain that I see is at 3. So this is why I counted from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So at position 3, I see an ethyl, and at position 4, I see a methyl. Does that answer your question?
No, to see on the stacked side branches, you called them, instead of calling them 1 and 2, you said it's 6 and 7. Why is it?
I didn't have 6 and 7. I was counting first to make sure it's a heptane. Okay, so that means, I think what you were trying to see, what you're seeing is that this is root 1. Okay, that gives me 7. But if I go up, it also gives me 7.
Yeah.
So you can choose either of them. It doesn't matter because the side chain is always going to be on the 3rd for an ethyl. Okay, and the 4th is going to be a methyl. So let's prove it. Okay, what if we went up? At what position is your ethyl? So this is still an ethyl. You see? At what position is my ethyl? I start counting from this side. This is my first carbon, second carbon, third carbon. At what position is my ethyl?
4.
3rd. And which position is my methyl? Still at the 4th. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter which way you went, you still got the same answer. Because the side chain is still an ethyl at that position.
So what's the difference between ethyl and methyl? You don't know what it is.
Methyl comes from methane. Ethyl comes from ethane. This part of the name is always the number of carbons. This is 1 carbon, and this is 2 carbons. This is a methyl coming from methane. It only has 1 carbon. This is an ethyl because it comes from ethane. Okay, so this is ethyl, and this is methyl.
What if it was CH2, CH2, then CH3?
CH2, CH2, CH3. Count the number of carbons
Okay.
and the number
Also-
of hydrogens.
7.
7. I have 3 carbons. What's the prefix for 3? Methane, ethane,
Okay.
propane. So propane is C3H8. I removed the hydrogen, it became 7. What does it do?
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so you count the number of carbons. The carbons tell you the prefix.
What if it doesn't make a difference if it was 2 CH3s and 1 CH2, or it's the same thing because it's the amount.
You can only have a CH3 at the end because in the middle you connected it to 2 other groups.
So
You see this carbon here? It cannot be a CH3 because I have a 1 bond to this carbon and 2 bonds to this hydrogen and another bond to a carbon. That's 4. I can't have more. So the CH3s are always at the end, not in the middle. Okay?